Hey friends, welcome into another edition of 4 Minutes on Friday. Today, we're going to talk about curiosity. This is something that I kind of been thinking about for several years now in relation to how curious we are as people. Most of us have a passive curiosity that if something kind of comes across our path, we kind of go, oh, that's kind of interesting. And a lot of times it dies right there. Now, if we back up in time before the internet was everywhere, before the internet even existed, certainly in my childhood, if there was a question, let's say you're sitting around with a group of people and you're talking about some movie that you recently saw, and you go, "Hey, wasn't the guy who was in that movie wasn't he in another movie? And what was that? What was the name of that movie? And who was in that movie with him?" Now, if that group of people that are sitting there talking, if nobody knows the movie that you're referencing or the other people that were in that other movie with that same actor or actress, the conversation kind of would get to a point where nobody knew, nobody had the next answer, and so everybody just kind of went, well, I guess we don't know. And the conversation moved on. If that happens now, and anybody in that group has a smartphone, which is likely that at least one person, but probably everybody in that group, will have access to the internet somehow through a phone or a tablet or whatever. Well, you can find out the answers. I mean, IMDb is one of my favorite apps when I'm watching a movie at home and I go, hey, wait a minute, what was he in before? And I pull up IMDb and then I read, oh, he was in that movie and this movie, and oh yeah, I forgot about him in that. So our curiosity sometimes I think reaches a saturation point where we go, okay, I don't need to know any more info. Now, back to active and passive curiosity. I think that most of us fall into a category of passive curiosity, that when something comes across our path, something comes into our view and we've never seen it before, we've never heard it, we go, well, that's kind of interesting. That sounds kind of fun. I wonder what that's all about. But because it's a passive curiosity, we don't pursue it. We kind of go, I'll move on without it. And let me just be clear. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Most of us have a lot on our plates, and to add one more thing to it is too much. So I totally get it. So this isn't a shame on you for not being more curious, not in the slightest. What I do think is very interesting is the actively curious person. An actively curious person, from what I've noticed and just observing about my own self and my own family, is that when something kind of interesting shows up, and it has potential impact for whether it be your career, your job, your something for your family, you will take the step and go towards that thing. I think that's an active curiosity. A passive curiosity would say, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. I don't really have time for it. Yeah, but it'll be really good for you. It could be very helpful for you and your family, your profession. And we still kind of go, I don't want to. Here's my encouragement to you, is to notice when that starts to happen, when there is something new that comes across your path, and you are challenged to maybe find out a little bit more about that, to engage that a little more fully. And the temptation, maybe your temptation is to usually say, I'm just not that interested. Maybe shift that a little bit and go, yeah, I'm going to take a couple steps towards that thing. I'm going to find out a little bit more about that and see what happens. See where that takes you. All right. Hope you're having a great week. See you next Friday.